All right, hey guys, what is up? It is Bibzuda back here once again on the Outlast trials. And in this video, I'm going to be going over and reviewing my escalation run that I just completed on my big live stream for 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. It was a fantastic event, easily the biggest stream I've ever done in any game, and I really had a great time interacting with everyone in the chat, and I really couldn't have made it as far as I did without all you guys there supporting me. Going to talk a little bit about the trials I went through, what I thought about the run as a whole, and my thoughts going forward, and why I decided to stop, because I know the original concept or the original premise was to not stop until I failed, but I will get into that a bit more as the video goes on. First things first, we can check the records in my sleep room cell here, which I've recently outfitted with some Amelia items and stuff, and we've got the Amelia icon on and everything. I just did the rebirth that I got from doing this escalation run. But if we look at the records here, we can see the escalation therapy trial review here. We played 200 trials, with the last one being Vindicate the Guilty. My overall grade was a B+, which I'm honestly pretty happy with, considering I did not care at all about my grade. Pretty much I was just running through, trying to pretty much go as fast as I can to save as much time as I could, and apparently that total completion time turns out to be somewhere around 37 hours according to the chat, if I remember right from last night. Only 28 deaths, which honestly isn't as bad as I thought. Again, I wasn't really worrying too much about dying. I definitely got killed more often than that, but I came back with self-revive quite a lot, and I guess that maybe had an impact there. And then you can see some of the overall stats here. We had 84 evidence, which is pretty funny. And then, rig uses and other things. 447 damage, 587 sound traps. That's one of the big ones. I just kind of sprinted straight over glass or cans. Didn't really care about those at all. And then often I wasn't even going for the secondary objective all the time later on into the run once I unlocked the full loadout. Because sometimes, you had countdown playing, you die in countdown, you lose the whole run. I wasn't going to worry too much about finding posters in that case, I would say, is probably what I would approach it with. But yeah, as far as the rewards as well, I got like 1,800 stamps or something like that, and over 2,000 event tokens, which are unfortunately useless to me at this time. I have already bought out, I have already bought out the catalog. So I cannot do anything with these event tokens, but I didn't expect to have anything to do with them. Of course, I'd already bought it out before I did the escalation run. And if you don't know, of course, the run consists of currently 23 MK challenges that you can get. There should be 24, but Kidnap the Mistress was not available during my run. Not sure of the reason for that, but that should be fixed soon. And then there's 7 full trials in the game, but again, Kill the Snitch was not available in my run, which I think there's some bug with that they had to remove it for, but also should be back relatively soon, I would think. I may need to be pausing and cutting here and there because my voice is pretty shot from the 3 full days of live streaming. We streamed for a total of almost 78 hours, although I did sleep each night and play my own videos on the stream. But anyways, yeah, there's 6 of the full trials. Kill the Snitch not in there, which is a shame because Kill the Snitch is one of the easier full trials for me, at least. We can also look here and see Escalation Peak 200 with the 5 attempts that I've done over the course of my gameplay. And my favorite thing to see is in the records that 200 with the peak symbol is very, very cool. So yeah, overall, it was a great run. But I did decide to end it on my own terms at 200. I did not fail, and I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. Just briefly, before we do jump into that discussion about why I decided to end the run, I do want to mention, forgot to mention this towards the beginning, but unfortunately, the live stream did not get saved by YouTube. It was, as I said, 77, almost 78 hours. And something I didn't know, as I've never done a live stream of such length, is that YouTube will most likely delete your live stream footage if it's more than 12 hours. And mine was much more than 12 hours, of course. So sadly, I do not have the footage. If I had known, I would have saved a local recording as well. But yeah, that's one of the biggest sadnesses that has come from this, is I'm not able to actually review the footage or go over any of the cool moments, or show like a funny clip montage. I feel like there was so many great moments that I would have loved to have showcased in like a compilation video, but unfortunately that isn't possible. In the future, if I do a big live stream event, I will absolutely be recording it locally so I can have the footage. But yeah, that's a bit of an L from YouTube on that front. Thankfully, one of the people in the chat, Catherine, thankfully saved 1 minute of the stream towards the end. So I'll be showcasing that at the end of the video if you're interested, just to see how things were as they wrapped up. But yeah, we missed out on a bit of content there, I would say, a bit for sure. Also, just wanted to mention a couple of the things that were like the most dangerous trial that we had, I guess I would say, was poison the cattle with bomb countdown and level 1. Level 1 removes your rig, prescriptions, and amps. You're basically a level 1 account. You have no unlocks. And then countdown, of course, if the bomb on my chest explodes, I am dead. And that is the end of the run. And of course, poison the cattle, not the easiest trial. It's one of the Franco trials. You have to deal with the poison gas and canisters. So that was definitely the one that I would say had the most potential for me to fail, but I didn't really even come close to failing there. I don't think my countdown ever went down below like 2.5 minutes even. But I'll talk more about that in the next section, I suppose, where I go over the reasons why I stopped. Additionally, if you're interested in the list of trials that in the order that I got them, you can check the description. There's the 23 MKs and six full trials in the order that they would have appeared for me. So yeah, I will see you guys in a minute here, where I'm going to take a little break, maybe go to a trial, give my voice a break since it's still pretty rough since the stream, and I'll see you guys for that part where I talk about why I stopped the run. All right, I went and ran a quick trial to cleanse my voice a little bit, give it a little bit of a rest. Ran a quick kidnap the mistress to work on some blind rig tasks, and I realized, let me move the camera. I didn't show the currency. You couldn't actually see it because I had the camera in the way. So there's the actual totals I have now. Yeah, I got most of the tokens from that, and then I almost doubled my stamp count. So pretty good rewards from the stream, most definitely. But yeah, so there's a couple of one more thing before I get into that. My loadout for the run, I took the stun rig, easily the best rig in the game right now, especially for solo. So that's why I took that. We were trying to get as high as we could, took the best rig. And the amps that I generally ran were these three: noise reduction, smash, and self-revive. A few times I switched to backpack for stash the contraband, but only like once or twice. And a lot of the time you would get a variator like level 1 or no amps that would remove them. And then of course I got all the prescriptions eventually, except for the ones that you can't get, which are hard kick and stay of execution, because maybe you can get those in a co-op escalation. I haven't done it, but you can't get those in solo. I think you can get all of these, and then for some reason you can't get advanced regeneration. You've never been able to get that in escalation. I don't know why. Maybe that's intended, maybe not. And then medic also is co-op, so I wasn't able to get that. But otherwise, got the entire rest of the loadout, and yeah, that is what I ran for that. Now, as far as why I stopped at 200 trials, for the most part, I kind of started to feel like there was less and less of a chance of me actually losing. Not to make it sound like, not to sound too arrogant, although that is inherently how that will sound. Before I started the stream and before I began this big run, I had a few misconceptions about how some of the variators worked in Escalation. The primary one being no revives. I thought that the no revives variator would make it so you could not revive at all, no matter how many pills you'd taken in the past or anything. However, the only thing it does is makes it so that no revive items spawn in that trial. So there wouldn't have been any pills that I could pick up. Usually there would be 1 pill per trial, and then as you took more pills, they would stack up over the escalation run, and by the end of the run, I had something like 130, 140 revives, something crazy like that. So pretty much no chance of me dying without countdown, which is the only variator that can bypass your revives. So I thought that no revives would potentially be a problem. And there could easily be a time where I got like no revives and no amps, and then Deadly Prime Asset, one hit from Coil or Gooseberry, run is over. Not the case. Pretty much actually no chance of that happening. And that was what I thought would be the main way of me dying. Additionally, there's 2 trials in the game right now which have the shuttle arrive automatically when the last objective is complete, or even before it's complete in the case of one of them. Eliminate the past and deface the Futtermans. I thought that if you couldn't make it to the shuttle in time, you were just dead, and then that was it, game over. So I thought that maybe if there was a really bad combination of variators, I would have trouble getting to the shuttle in time. It did almost happen one time on Deface the Futtermans, but that might have been on the first run before I crashed. I'll talk about that later. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but actually not the case. You cannot get instantly killed by the shuttle time running out. You will slowly take damage over time, I believe, and then even if you die, you can still use your revives and kind of like just keep running, trying to get closer and closer to the shuttle, and eventually, you will make it. 130 plus revives towards the end made that pretty much an inevitability. So that's 2 ways that I thought I could lose that were not actually possible. And those were honestly the 2 I was more worried about. Now, the main way, or pretty much the only way that it ended up being that I could lose was through Bomb Countdown. Now, of course, if you don't know, Bomb Countdown, or Countdown itself, was the event that they ran last year where you have a bomb strapped to your chest at the start of the trial. I think it starts with like 3 minutes or something. And then if you don't extend it, there's time extenders around the trial that you can find, a limited amount of them, but usually a decent amount. If it hits 0, it will blow up and then you are dead. Your revives do not count at all. That is a fact. If your bomb countdown timer hits 0, you do not you do not come back. The run is over. You have failed right there. So yeah, at the end of the day, given the differences in the way things worked that I wasn't aware of prior to the run, that was pretty much the only way I could lose, my bomb countdown timer hitting 0. And there were some kind of niche possibilities where I could technically lose if I got countdown with some of the other hardest variants in the game, one of those being level 1, which I talked about a bit earlier. Level 1 essentially sets your account to what it would be at level 1. No prescriptions, no rig, no amps. You basically have nothing. I did get that combo, like I mentioned before, on Poison the Cattle, level 1, and Bomb Countdown. And it wasn't really that big of an issue for me there, but maybe on a big trial like Pleasure the Prosecutor, it would prove more difficult. A few of the other more difficult trials I had was Pleasure the Prosecutor with level 1 and Bad Trip 2. That was fairly annoying. And Psychosis Damage, I think, was also on there. I don't remember. That was trial number like 30 or something. It was pretty early on. And then immediately after that, on trial 40, the next big trial, I got Poison the Medicine with Bomb Countdown as well. That didn't end up being too bad. I also had Countdown on Cleanse the Orphans and I think Grind the Bad Apples at one point. And then I got it a bunch of different times on various MK challenges. And I don't think a single time during the run did any of my Bomb Countdown timers go below 2 minutes even. So that had me pretty convinced that I wouldn't struggle too much with getting through any trial on Countdown alone. And it would have to be some sort of miraculously disastrous combination of variators that would just have been bad luck to get them all at once. Because also, it seemed to me that you could only get one event variator at a time. I thought a bad combo would be Countdown with something like Toxic Shock or Cold Snap, which means you have to wait in the locker to avoid the damage. I don't think you can get both of those variators in one trial since they're both event variators. I never saw a trial where you had more than one of the event variators, those being Bomb Countdown, Toxic Shock, Cold Snap, Prime Time. Are there any others that I'm forgetting? Possibly. Maybe the Geister one counts. Hallucinations, I don't know. Probably not, but I don't remember if that... No, I definitely had hallucinations with like Toxic Shock and stuff at some point. And the key to all that being, even if I got a really bad combination of variators, since no revives didn't work the way I thought, I could technically just corpse rush, which is a quote from like MMOs or games where there's bosses that don't necessarily regen their health. You can just keep running to them and dying until they eventually die to your chip damage. I could with all my revives, and if I got the nightmare combo of like one inventory slot, level 1, countdown, whatever else makes it as bad as possible, I could just not care at all pretty much about dying, sprint straight to the objectives, get the countdown timers that I saw, and use up my revives to get past this huge nightmare trial that's a very low chance to ever even happen. And when you're down on the ground dying in solo or getting executed or whatever, your bomb countdown timer doesn't tick down. I found out. So even in that case, I feel like it would have been fairly unlikely for me to actually end up losing everything. So that was a pretty big contributing factor to why I decided not to continue past 200. Additionally, I wanted to get my stats saved. I wanted this escalation peak of 200 to be showing up here on my profile. I wanted to see the rewards I would get. I wanted to see the end screen, a lot of stuff like that. I talked about it with my chat a bit. People kind of agreed with my perspective, at least the folks that were talking in the chat. And at the end of the day, decided that it was enough was enough, and I stopped it at 200. I did 35 trials on Wednesday night when I started at Wednesday at 9 p.m. Then when I went to sleep, I set up my macro to wiggle in the corner. I don't even know if I showed that yet, but when I would sleep, I would go to the corner of the shuttle and just wiggle in the corner like this using a macro on my mouse. So that kept me from getting idle kicked. But despite that, God, the voice is tough right now, guys. I apologize. Despite that, I got disconnected from the server on Wednesday night. I think it was just an internet blip or server connection blip or something. So I started back over on Thursday morning. Did 60 trials on Thursday. Went to bed. Woke up. It was still connected. On Friday, did another 60. Was up to 120. Went to bed. And on Saturday, which was yesterday, we did a big marathon of 80 trials to get up to that 200, and I decided to call it a day there. So 200 trials over the course of 3 days, and 20 of those were 10%, you can easily assume, were the full-size trials, of course. And we ended with Vindicate the Guilty on there. And yeah, overall, it was really fun. I do hope at some point they change it to make it so you can... excuse me, so you can save your escalation runs, but it seems like they might be happy with the mode. We'll have to see what happens, but I definitely really enjoyed it, going through it with the chat and everything. I don't think I'm going to do anything like this again unless there are changes to escalation. I think I got my fill and hopefully proved my point, I guess, that I can probably go for as long as the servers or my computer or power supplies hold out for. But yeah, I mean, again, thank you to everyone who was there supporting me along the way. I couldn't have made it without you guys having interactions in the chat and just encouraging me to keep going. And the hype was definitely real when we hit that 100 triple digits, and then at the end with all the GGs and the Ws. I really appreciate everyone being there, and of course, one last time, thank you all for we've reached 1,000 subscribers. We're already over 1,100 now, partially thanks to the stream. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. I'm going to watch over the video before I upload it here and see if there's anything I forgot that I want to mention. But those are mostly my full thoughts. Honestly, would not really recommend going for this yourself. Just sort of doing a solid like 20 to 30 if you want to commit like a full day or a half day or whatever to it would be honestly impressive in its own right, in my opinion. As far as the record for escalation, I ended up settling with saying that the run that I did to 200 was the record for the current patch. The current patch is the only one that includes the level 1. Man, this is tough. Sorry. The level 1 variator, which is, in my opinion, the hardest variator that's currently available, that takes away all of your upgrades in that one small variator package, takes away everything. I would say that is definitely the hardest variator. That wasn't available in past versions of Escalation. I'm not saying that the people who maybe got higher levels of Escalation in the past couldn't have dealt with that, but hey, that's just how it works in my mind. And there were varying levels of levels. I heard anywhere from 300 to 1,000 that people had apparently done with dubious, good lord, dubious levels of proof. Some just being screenshots. So I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with I have the record for this current patch and leave it at that. Because yeah, I think I'm I'm happy with where I got. I was happy when I got to 100, and 200 is just absolutely awesome. And I didn't want to risk it continuously on potentially getting kicked for any number of reasons. So yeah, unless I figure out something else that I want to say, that's going to be it for this video. I will be having my coverage of the Under Surveillance event part 2 coming very shortly. Probably I'll take a day or two off to let my voice recover, but then we'll cover that. And then the big Season 3 update patch is coming on April 22nd. I will absolutely be covering that, having plenty of videos on everything that's released, including my first run and exploration of the new full trial. Can't wait for that to be coming out. So if you don't want to miss that, don't forget to subscribe down below. Smash the like button, of course. And yeah, thank you. Big thanks as well to all of my channel members that have joined during the stream. I'll put their names up on the screen. And big thanks especially to the Reborn Reagent tier, who currently just consists of Mr. Crypt. Thank you so much to all of you, though, for your support. And yeah, if you want to show your support for the channel, get some cool emotes maybe to use in the comments or the stream, then you can click the join button on the video. And yeah, enjoy this little clip from the end of the stream. Thanks again to Catherine for capturing this for us to commemorate the ending. But yeah, that's it for this one, you guys. I'll see you for Under Surveillance. Peace out. And there it is, folks. 200 Escalation. The marathon is complete. We've done it. Let's take the picture of that. You gotta take a screenshot, and we'll hold to abandon. Don't want to get sent to the next trial in 20 seconds. There it is. 2,177 minutes, 7 seconds. B plus total, only 28 deaths. Less than I thought. 195,250 XP. Trials played 51. That is not right. I tell you guys that. 84 documents collected. Survived psychosis 32 times. 281 stuns. 483 bricks bottles. 447 damage. Jesus Christ. Killed 66 times.